watching an area of rotation now that's near Posodum. This is Sodorus, this is Posodum. I got it circled there, south of Tolono. Now, we did have just a picture from a spotter in this area. In fact, we just got a tornado warning, so we are going to go to wall-to-wall coverage here for a moment. We have a tornado warning for southern Champaign County. I need you guys to get us on WCIX and WCIA as well. So this is south of Sodorus, northwest of Posodum, and southwest of Tolono, and this was just issued a moment ago. So let me gather my bearings here. You see the flash flood warning that goes until 9 o'clock. This tornado warning is until 6:45. It includes the southern half of Champaign County and goes, as I said, till 6:45. Let me zoom out, and as I said, I kind of got to get some information in here before we actually get everything. We did see a lowering with this, meaning the cloud was making its way to the ground, and as it was doing so, there is obviously now, they're saying it is radar indicated, moving east at 25 miles an hour. So do this at 25, that would put it near Philo at 6:35. That's if it turns a little bit more to the north. Again, the reason we're on now, a tornado warning in effect for the southern part of Champaign County till 6:45. Now, I don't believe there's any games in this area, so that's good news. But further to the east in Vermilion County, that's where that becomes a concern over in that area. Now, currently, as I was just saying a moment ago, this is not touching the ground. But from the pictures I'm seeing on Twitter that I'd like to be able to show you, but unfortunately they're on another computer, this is very close to the ground. And I'm pretty sure the reason the National Weather Service issued the warning was because of what they saw over on social media. They probably saw that warning or that area of concern and immediately issued it. So I'm going to adjust some things here, get some more times of arrival. Tolono, Philo, Sydney till 6:45. Now, as I just mentioned, this is at the moment not producing a tornado from what we know. Guys, is the Skycam pointing south or north? I don't know if you guys can pull that up while we're talking here, but you can certainly see a hook here between Tolono and Posodum. Right here, air coming in, air coming out. And we mentioned this earlier today, that if a storm got going, there is the chance it could quickly produce a tornado or at least some area of rotation. And that area certainly is there and moving at about 25 miles an hour. So now it's getting closer to 45. So if you're in Tolono or Posodum, you're probably on the edges of this, but I would still take this safe. If you're Philo, south of Philo on 130, between Philo and Villa Grove, keep an eye on this, especially in the Champaign County part of that. And actually, we do have the President's Health Skycam looking to the south. So let's go and punch that up real quick here, guys. This is looking kind of southwest. So I see some clearing, but also notice the clouds even in this area are fairly low. It's going to be hard for me to see anything looking that way because of all the rain, because there's a lot of rain between here and where that area of rotation is. But this is looking sort of down 45. Obviously, 45 is a little bit further over here, but sort of in that direction. And you just see a lot of rain more than anything else. I doubt we'll see much there. So let's go back to Storm Tracker radar. We should be getting an update here on exactly where this is and if it will continue to move to the northeast or east. So right now, between Tolono, Posodum, 25 to the northeast. Right there, you see two towns of arrival. Tolono at 6:20, Philo at 6:32. Now, if you're in Philo, it's going to have to make a little bit of a jog to the north. But if you're south of Philo, that's headed kind of in your direction right now. And you can get an idea of the direction based on the actual shape of the warning area. That area goes all the way over to the Vermilion County line. So Homer's included in this, even as far north as St. Joseph. But if you draw that straight line, it's more towards Homer, not up towards St. Joe that we are concerned with. So I don't know if we have a crew in the area, guys, down there. And let me know. But I know, like, Craig Schote was headed to the south for a game. Maybe he can look back to the north and tell us what's going on if he's south of that. If he's near that, we need to let him know that he needs to make sure he gets to a safe place here pretty shortly. So 6:45. So we've got 35 minutes. It's not moving real fast. 25 miles an hour is not real fast, but with the environment that we have, it's one of those situations where a tornado could form, and once it does, it would likely be on the ground for some time. Also notice there's a flash flood warning for Champaign County to the north, as you're seeing on the bottom of your screen there. That's just off to the north where the heavier rain has fallen. Some places indicating anywhere around 1 to 2 inches of rain, at least according to radar. So just kind of checking social media and everything here and making sure we're not missing anything before we get our next update on radar, because this is right over 45, at least according to the last run on radar here. And just double checking some messages and such, making sure. A lot of people are saying they got tornado alerts on their phone. That's a great thing. We like hearing that. But obviously, this is for the southern part of the county. So if it went off in Champaign, for example, you're not actually in the warning area. Neither is Urbana. In fact, Savoy's not even in the warning area. This is between Tolono and Savoy and all the way down towards Posodum. So it is well off to the south compared to those two areas. And I'm actually going to flip to a different radar source because this one seems like it's taking its time trying to get an update in. And we'll go over to this view and turn the other one off and show you exactly where that rotation is. At least we're going to try to. And like I said, between Tolono and Posodum, and here we go. It's right there. So where the reds and the greens come together is where the area of concern is. Green headed towards the radar, red headed away from the radar. So there's rotation here. So again, Philo, south of Philo on 130. It looks like it may have crossed 45 now. And so as it moves in this direction, obviously it's moving pretty slow. So imagine driving from Tolono to Philo at 25 miles an hour. It'd take you a while to get there. And so that's why this is not moving really, really fast. It's just kind of meandering its way in that direction. This is kind of a less resolved radar, but you still can see that hook on there. So Tolono, there's an update right there. And we'll actually see if we get, it takes another second or two before the velocity actually updates. So southeast of Tolono, southwest of Philo now would be the area of concern. So right here where my finger is. So southeast Tolono, of Tolono, southwest of Philo is, I don't know if Unity was at home or not tonight, but if they are, they're not home, so that's good news. So they should have been a delay if they're not. Scott, if you can, find out, is St. Joe at home tonight? Okay, so we'll look into that, but that's an area that, if so, they need to go ahead, just get back inside for a little bit. They probably already are, just because of the lightning up here to the north of the Oakwood area. That's the newest update here on the velocity. Doesn't look really any weaker to me or stronger. Kind of looks the same as it did right as we were kind of coming on the air here or starting to see the rotation. It looks the same, kind of a weak inbound, but a pretty strong outbound, enough there that there's some rotation. And we did see pictures of this lowering. I've not seen a picture of a tornado, but I saw a picture that had this pretty close to the ground. And with that, it doesn't take much of that to just reach down. And so that's why they're issuing this warning ahead. So St. Joe is not at home tonight. So I guess the good news is that though there are towns in the path, there's not a huge amount of people at a high school right now that are currently in the path of this. But this is going to head over towards Vermilion County eventually. And when it does, it could eventually continue to rotate in that direction. Just got another radar update. This latest radar update here on the actual rain looks like it's a little further east, maybe a little further north as well. Philo, you need to be in your safe place. Areas east of Philo need to be in your safe place right now. Areas in southeastern Champaign County is the area we are most concerned about right now. So I'm going to zoom in, try to get a few more cities to pop up here. Sydney, another area. If you're in Longview, probably looking to the north and can actually see it. I want to point out, too, there's not a whole lot of lightning with this. There's not going to be that big warning we sometimes get with these, where as they get closer, we end up hearing a lot of thunder and a roar. Doesn't look like we're going to get that with this one, the way this thing currently appears to be working. Trying to get your radar scope back on there. There we go. So that's actually the previous update that hasn't updated just yet. Pretty soon, we are going to probably be getting an update from the National Weather Service on the warning. And when the update comes in, I would bet Posodum and Tolono will be on the far western edge of this. If you're in Tolono or Posodum, as of now, chances are you're probably going to start to be a little more in the clear. If you are further east of there, like I said, Philo, south of Philo on 130, you need to be in your safe place. Sydney, you need to be starting to head in that direction. Maybe not right off the bat, but here pretty soon, you need to head off to your safe place right now because this is rotating. And as I said, yes, we don't have a confirmed tornado just yet. But what we do have is the rotation, and I saw a picture on Twitter that put this very, very close to the ground. So it wouldn't take a little extra spin, possibly between radar updates, for this to spin up and quickly create a tornado. So Philo, areas south of Philo, Sydney, areas south of Sydney, both need to be in your safe place as soon as possible. So we're waiting on those updates right now. I'm hoping it comes in pretty soon. The warning does go till 6:45, so we've got 25 more minutes here on this warning. And I'm just checking to make sure I'm not missing anything as far as stuff coming in. It could. We got a lot of people asking questions on Twitter, and I hope we can get to them and just say, hey, please turn into WCIA. That's where we're covering this as of now, given that we only have one person here kind of watching the warning area. So Tolono, southeast of there, over southwest of Philo, also are the two areas that I'm concerned. I'll actually just kind of draw a track of where I'm thinking. You see it there. Continuing northeast currently. 130, areas north of Longview, south of Sydney. There you just saw a radar update. And I'm going to go ahead and say with that radar update, that makes it look a lot less menacing. We'll wait for the velocity update to come in. We'll go back over to the wall here. But that area of rotation, if it is holding together, would be south of Philo. So south of Philo here, again, along 130 and moving to the east. So still, if this continues along its current track, and there's the update, you know, it's one of those things where it kind of looks like, it's like the stock market where it doesn't really move up or down much, kind of a level day, if you will. That's what it looks like to me there. So between Sydney and Longview, I would go ahead and head to your safe place. It's Friday night. It's family time anyways. So head to your safe place there. If you're over in Homer, keep an eye on this. You're on the edge of the warning. The warning literally stops at the Vermilion County line. So if you're on 49, south of Homer especially, stay with us here because we're going to keep you updated. And if you're over towards Fairmount, Oakwood, Danville, stay with us as well because we're going to be watching this as it moves to the north and east right now. And there's that update I said would be occurring. So here's the National Weather Service update saying that there's a tornado warning that is radar indicated. The update came in 1 minute ago. It is located near Philo, or 11 miles southeast of Champaign, moving east now at 30 miles an hour. So they've sped this up just a little bit, up to around 30 miles an hour. And you see some towns of arrival there. It includes Philo, Homer, and Sydney. Now, as I was saying, I think this is moving just a little bit south of each of those towns. I've drawn that a little bit wider. We have had reports of funnel clouds with all this. As I mentioned earlier, there was plenty of social media chatter showing a major lowering as this moved near the Pasodum area. So, by the way, guys, make sure the live feed for severe weather is up online. If we can make sure we're streaming. Just got somebody saying that that's not currently working, so hopefully we can get that up here pretty shortly. So, storm now crossing 130, or at least close to that area. Here's Philo, Sydney, and up here's Homer. And you see the times of arrival. This will actually update as we get more information. If you're in Broadlands, this should stay north of you. Allerton, the same thing. Yes, this is in effect for Champaign County, but Champaign, Urbana, Mahomet, Rantoul, Gifford, further off to the southwest, Ivesdale, you're not in this warning. Savoy's not in the warning. It's kind of the southeastern corner of the viewing area. So the latest scan here tells me that this rotation or area of rotation that could produce a tornado is now crossing 130. Like I said, right around just to the south of Philo. So it'll kind of stay south of the three towns that are in a line here, which is good news, but also if you live south of there, it's not necessarily good news. Now, notice that it did pick up Ogden here on the times of arrival. I don't know that it'll make it that far north. I think Ogden probably going to be on the far, far northern edge of this. And usually when tornadoes strengthen, they have a tendency to turn to the right. So that would pretty much put Ogden out of play at this time. We also have a new tornado warning that has just been issued for another part of central Illinois. So let me get down there, zoom out and zoom back in. This is for parts of Clark and Cumberland County, and this is a radar indicated tornado that was possibly producing a tornado near Greenup and moving east at about 30 miles an hour. It's very similar. It's in the same sort of atmosphere, so that doesn't necessarily surprise me, but it is right there, and you can see where the red and green come together. We are getting at the edge of this radar, but I can still do a track on this east at 30 miles an hour. We can switch to another radar if need be. KZ at 640, Martinsville at 643. Another tornado warning has just been issued. This one for Vermilion County. It includes Danville. So we have multiple tornado warnings being issued here for parts of central Illinois. Guys, I'm going to quickly try to get the Danville Skycam up for you guys. This is a radar indicated tornado. It was a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Oakwood. So this includes the northern part of Danville here, and I think I just punched up that Skycam. So there's the All About Eyes Skycam. There in town it looks calm, but this is off to the west, and I got to find the area of rotation that apparently was near Oakwood, and to me it's a little further north. So if we go back to, there we go, I'm going to say there's our track. So I think the bulk of this stays north of Danville. I don't want to completely rule you out. I think it probably is staying north of there, but for the most part, if you're in Danville, I would be keeping an eye on this and possibly heading to your safe place and trying to make sure you're where you need to be. So we have 3 tornado warnings in effect here all at the same time. Let me zoom out, kind of recap everything. The first we got was Champaign County, including the southeastern corner of Champaign County. That is the area that we saw pictures of. We were getting ready to tell you about this. Hey, keep an eye on it. And they issued the warning right as we were doing so. Area of rotation now is south of Philo, headed up towards Sidney. Probably, if it does affect any part of Sidney or Homer, the southern half of those 2 towns. So I guess, you know, it's not headed directly into town, at least the way it looks now, but if you're in Sidney, if you're in Homer, you need to make sure you remain in your safe place. Further off to the north here, oh yeah, there's a bigger hook there now. So Bismarck, Alvin, areas along 136 between Henning and Danville. You need to be, we're in your safe place. If you say, oh yeah, hey, you can get to my house just north of Danville, you need to be in your safe place because that's where this rotation is. Now, I want to reiterate, we do not have confirmation of any tornadoes on the ground, which is good news. But at the same time, don't get complacent over that and think, hey, it's just a little shower, no big deal, you know, because obviously we're seeing something above that you can't see in the clouds, and that could be producing something that was making its way to the surface. So another tornado warning here now for KZ. If you're in KZ, you need to be in your safe place. If you live along I-70 or near Route 40, you need to make sure you are in your safe place right now. So we will continue to watch all of those for you. Currently, Jennifer Roscoe joins us again. Jennifer, what you got for us?
Okay, just to give you a chance to catch your breath, want to let you know that in the newsroom we've called Champaign Police, Urbana Police, Champaign County Sheriff's Department, Cumberland County Sheriff's Department, Champaign County EMA, and everybody's kind of watching those roads. They've got the Sheriff's Office in Cumberland County said there's a lot of heavy rain, but so far nothing's flooded out. EMA also just warning people about the flash flood warning that they need to be watching those roads. Of course, if they are flooded, don't take the risk. Turn around, don't drown. Derek says that all the time. Right now, everybody's just kind of waiting and watching the skies. So that's all the information. Just want to let you know that we are checking around all these different places. Derek, I've been listening to you in the newsroom. We're just trying to see what's out there. So far, nobody's reporting any damage, any wind damage, anything like that. I do want to say somebody did call the newsroom and say they were in Homer and they were watching a tornado come toward them. We didn't get any other information from them. They said it was coming south. So, of course, we can't say that that is actually happening. That is just a caller letting us know what they are seeing.
And we just got this in, Jennifer, as we told you during the news at 5 o'clock and the last newscast as well, that we may end up with a tornado watch. Thank you for the break, by the way. A tornado watch in effect for most of Central Illinois till, it says till 1 a.m. You can't see it. It's actually behind here. But till 1 a.m., we're not going to be under it till then. This will be done well before then. So this isn't an all-night event. And as we said, West Central Illinois and the clear East Central Illinois being the area of concern right now. Now, I am slightly concerned about this cell. If you are in Philo, you're likely getting on the back end of it. Give me another 5 minutes or so in your safe place. But if you look at the rotation here, it has in some ways become a little bit stronger. South of Philo, southwest of Sidney right now is that area. So if you consider Sidney where you are or south of there, then you need to be in your safe place. If I were to try to pin the rotation, and I don't want you to think it's right there, because radar can be off by a degree or two. Radar can be a little skewed one way or the other. It would be 2.25 miles south of Philo, moving east, northeast. But like I said, don't take that as that's where it is. Derek said it's there, it's absolutely there. I can't guarantee that's exactly where it is. Now, we did just get an update here. To me, it looks like Sidney, you're in the thick of the rain. Still, please be in your safe place. We're gonna get an update on the velocity here in a second. As I mentioned before, it takes another couple minutes for the velocity to completely update here. And notice it is 6:30. This warning goes until 6:45. This is strengthened, okay? When you start seeing that many pixels right up against each other, that is an area of concern. Southwest of Sidney, southwest of Homer by quite a bit. If you're in Homer or south of there, Sidney or south of there, it's time to head to your safe place. It wouldn't surprise me if we started getting some reports out of this here pretty shortly. This is not the only game in town, as I mentioned before. We have more than one tornado warning in effect. The other one is for parts of Vermilion County. I should mention, too, by the way, yes, this warning is in effect for Champaign County. However, it does not include Champaign, Urbana, Savoy, Mahomet, etc. Danville, you are in this warning here that the rotation is just north of Oakwood, or it was. It is kind of moving to the east, but if you're in Danville, you need to make sure you are in your safe place as well, just because of the way this is currently moving to the north and east. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up a certain thing on my phone so I can get a little more information. If you're in Danville, though, 136 between Rossville and Danville, need to be in your safe place. The game's in Westville tonight, right, guys? Just reconfirm with me there. Okay, so they need to, they're okay for now, but that next storm over in Champaign County is the one they need to be watching. And I don't know if we can just get an update on what they're doing from Anise, that would give us at least a little bit more information. Trying to pull up multiple radar sources. When you get over into this part of our viewing area, you start getting to the point to where it's a little bit between the Indianapolis and Lincoln radar. But I tell you what, when I look at the Lincoln radar, the one that sticks out is the one that is headed towards the Homer area that is south of Sidney. That is what is really sticking out to me on this. So, a lot to mention here, and we are going to stay with this until we know, you know, exactly what's going on. So just kind of, I'm sorry I'm not talking for a moment. I'm just taking a quick read at multiple things here just to make sure I'm not missing any information that's currently coming in. The other thing with these, and the reason I have this tornado up, or this tornado warning up, is because it is the one that is the most concerning to me as of now. Just seeing what I'm seeing on radar, seeing what I'm seeing on the velocities as well. Yeah, that one. It is just south of Sidney, directly south of Sidney. And I have another radar here. I'm just looking at multiple sources here, making sure we have our bases covered. Homer, safe place, please, as soon as you possibly can. I cannot forget about those of you in southern parts of our viewing area. That includes parts of Cumberland and Clark counties for this tornado warning down here. and it is rotating. It is near Casey. It is moving east at about 30 miles an hour currently, headed into the southern parts of Clark County. So the warning does include Marshall, but to me, it should try. Marshall, still keep an eye on this. After kind of drawing this out, I see why. And it says no cities in the path of this storm. If you live in southwestern Clark County, you're in the path of this storm, basically, is what we're going to say there. That one's rotating, but not as much as this one up here. I also want to point out there's more rain off to the west. And I also want to point out, as something that shows you weather is something that never ceases to amaze, we're doing all this with 126 lightning strikes. And most of these that are producing possible tornadoes don't even have lightning strikes on them. So if you're in the warning box, don't say, hey, I don't hear anything. You know, just take our word for it at this point, basically more than anything else. The other tornado warning I mentioned earlier for parts of Vermilion County, well, I don't know if I mentioned a time on this. The warning goes until 7 o'clock. National Weather Service being nice to us so far and only issuing these warnings for one county at a time. But this seems to me like it's hooking back. So it may be rotating in one spot and hasn't moved too much. It still appears to me, well, there's an update, brings it a little further to the north and east. Same areas I mentioned before. If you live in the red box, you need to be in your safe place. That's south of Rossville, north of Danville along 136. And basically, even if you live in Vermilion County, south and west of 136, right where 136 makes that big turn left, you need to be in your safe place as well. Everything I see on radar, though, continues to point at this cell here, which I know, you know, we're used to these big monster red, purple, you know, black colors on radar. And this, you look at this, you know, that's it. These are the lower parts of the atmosphere can produce a tornado. The upper parts of the atmosphere maybe don't have the ability to sustain one. So don't look at this as like, okay, that looks pretty puny, Derek. You know, we're seeing certain areas of rotation with this that is of concern. It's right there near Sydney. In fact, that looks like it may have moved up into the Sydney area. So as we were saying, if you're in Sydney, you need to make sure you're still in your safe place currently. And also to the northeast near Homer. And now we have, so University of Illinois staff is reporting a tornado northwest of Broadlands at 6:33. That was 4 minutes ago. So that would put about where the circle is, about where that red and green come together. That would be about the right place for what we were thinking this entire time. So a possible confirmed tornado, I say possible confirmed, if the sources I'm looking at here are good sources. So we're going to say a tornado northwest of Broadlands, south of Sydney, that could be producing, that is producing a tornado. We'll just say it is producing a tornado. Given what I'm seeing on radar, given the source it's saying there's a tornado on the ground, we're going to go with that. Homer along 49. If you live in Homer or south of Homer on 49, and I tell you what, this, as I mentioned, came a little further north the last couple of scans. So Homer and even points just to the north, maybe not all the way up to Ogden. That's the area of concern. This is going to move to the north and east. I should do a track on this to get you some times of arrival. So there's the rotation area. And here we go. So this is going to get us into Vermilion County. And you see some other towns of arrival. Basically, Sydney now. Homer in the next 10 to 15 minutes, Fairmount a little bit after 7 o'clock. Okay, well, we have more than one warning here, so we got to make sure we cover all of these in this situation. Let's see here. Let me get rid of that for you. There we go. Tornado warning also up here in parts of Vermilion County. The rotation is up here, it looks like. So south of Henning, west of Bismarck, that warning also goes till 7 o'clock. The other one goes till 6:45, this one till 7 o'clock. And the other tornado warning is down here in parts of Clark and Cumberland County that goes until 7:15. So 6:45, 7 to 7:15. And apparently there are pictures now of a tornado that was near Sydney. So we can confirm a tornado has touched down near the Sydney area. I'm seeing pictures here and there on social media of this. So this is this cell here. Okay, we got pictures apparently coming up. So we are working on that right now. While we're doing it, I want to give an update to where exactly this is. This is southwest of Sydney. It is southeast of Sydney, southwest of Homer, and moving towards the Homer area. So again, if you're in Homer, it's safe place time. If you're south of Homer on 49, it's time to get to your safe place. Some of the newest scan, which I don't think is popped up here just yet, it will here in a second, intensifies this. Sometimes, you know, different devices get things a little, sometimes this is the fastest, sometimes this is the fastest. So that's why we have all of them out here. I'm going to check one other thing that isn't on here, and that's the ability to see if there's any debris. It hasn't really hit a town, so I highly doubt there would be, and I don't see any. You know, unless it hits something of substance, you can't really see that on radar. But it certainly is rotating there southeast of Sydney with a confirmed tornado on it, at least as of last report. The other storm, I want to make sure we cover it near Bismarck. It is headed towards Bismarck. If you're in Bismarck, please be in your safe place. Right here, Bismarck, and it just updated to kind of go through Bismarck. And if you're over east of Bismarck, near Alvin, near Henning, you're kind of on the back side of this. But if you're in Bismarck, yeah, that's a pretty good rotation. That popped up in the last scan. Bismarck, an area that you need to keep an eye on this as well. The other warning, and that one looks pretty strong now as well, is in parts of Clark and Cumberland counties here. And right here's Clark, here's Cumberland. So it's pretty much into Clark County now. The rotation with it is southwest of Casey. If you're in Casey, though, you need to be in your safe place. Casey, Martinsville, areas along 40 between Martinsville and Marshall. Make sure you are where you need to be for severe weather. They just updated the other warning, the one we've been really kind of harping on, because we actually have pictures from it. And I'm not saying this one's more important than the next one. What we're saying is we actually have people on this one. And if you're in Homer or just south of Homer, you need to make sure you're in your safe place. I don't know how many times I've actually said that. It's now east of Sydney. Sydney, you are likely in the clear, so if you have no damage, you probably have made it through this with no problem. They updated the warning there, which is why I'm going to head over here real quick to the computer just to get the updated information on that, and take off velocity scope for a second. So they are calling, as we said, an observed tornado, confirmed tornado near Sydney, 15 miles southeast of Champaign, moving east of 25. So as we've been saying, they basically have confirmed what we are saying right now. All right, we have a picture. Okay, so here's a picture northwest of Broadlands. No commentary needed on that one. That's pretty clear. A tornado looks like a very healthy tornado, too. That does not look like a little weak finger reaching down. That looks like a thumb, and we expect that to continue to possibly be around. Do we have another one, or is that the only one, Scott? Okay, so we got another one. So that's, I don't know what order we got these in or what order they were taking in. And do I need to credit anyone with these guys? Okay, so this is Jeff Frame. Jeff is a very good chaser, absolutely a great chaser, and he knows what he's looking at. And okay, so this came in first, the other one was second, so that tells me this was the beginning. The next one is the new one, and I want to go back to radar, guys. We just got a new radar update, and if you're in Homer, we're kind of getting to final warning time. Fairmount, Catlin, and eventually Danville needs to watch this storm as well. But this one here, southwest of Homer, is the area of greatest concern. And I'm going to go over here and punch up a few other things and make sure I'm covering this. It's a little further north, too. So that rotation that was near Sydney or south of Sydney has come a little further north. So Homer and points northward. Homer and points just, if your address is Homer, you need to be in your safe place. If you live between Homer and the Vermilion County line, or you can throw a stone from your home to Homer into Champaign County from Vermilion County, you need to make sure that you are currently in your safe place. So this is certainly an area that is strong and rotating. it is something that has confirmed a tornado on it more than anything else. And in fact, we just got a new tornado warning with it. And there it is. So a tornado warning now in effect. It came in on my phone first until 7:15 for Vermilion County. So this includes the eastern part of Champaign County and a big chunk of Vermilion County till 7:15. The area of concern is that area we've been talking about. So this is the same rotation. It's just that it is now being extended into Vermilion County. And guys, this almost includes where the game is. That's something they just canceled, or the other one was allowed to expire. Okay, Scott, real quick, pull that picture up near Sydney, you said? Good, because I want to go to a few other things real quick. So we can't get to that just yet. What we want to do is I want to run down the other warnings quickly while we grab another picture real quick. So if we go up here, this area of rotation is now trying to make its way into Indiana, right there near Bismarck. So still, if you're Bismarck, Alvin, you need to make sure you're in your safe place. Go off to the south here, another tornado warning till 7:15. This one now east of the Casey area. Does not look as healthy as the other ones, but certainly still a tornado warning. We saw how quickly the other one produced a tornado. Wide view here, as we've been saying all night. It may be a night where we just need some patience. Look out here to the west. It is dry. We also have to watch, though, all of these cells here. And you may look at that and say, there's not any lightning on that, Derek. What are you talking about? These are, you've seen the pictures we've shown you. We do have some unconfirmed reports of a tornado near, hold on a second here, guys. A tornado near Menards in Danville. Yeah, so that's up further off to the north. So if you're in Vermilion County, you've kind of got the double dose going at you here. You've got one storm possibly producing a tornado up on the north side of Danville, another one that is producing a tornado near the Homer area headed in your direction. Okay, we have another picture near Broadlands. Is this Jeff again? Okay, so Jeff out there getting the information. That is a healthy stovepipe tornado. I mean, that is not something that just barely touches down and that's it. And let's be thankful that so far this appears to have only hit rural stuff. We have had no damage reports, but that's not your, it's okay, you know, it's a weak tornado. That is a healthy tornado that has triggered another warning in parts now of Vermilion County and eastern Champaign County. So here's Homer. Now we got some more lightning starting to pop up with this. So it may actually, the storm itself may be strengthening a little bit. I have not mentioned this. A flash flood warning in effect for a large part now of Vermilion County north of Danville, kind of where the tornado was. National Weather Service now tweeting that the tornado is in fact confirmed, as we had said a little bit ago, because Jeff was out there helping us out with that, and we appreciate him sending those in our direction. So this is the area of concern. I need to do a storm track on it. I haven't done that recently. And 30 miles an hour, so not real fast. I mean, think about driving from Homer to Danville at 30 miles an hour. That's not going to get there real quick. By the way, I pointed out the game's in Westville. You're on the edge of this warning. If you're planning ahead to the game, give us some time. They're not going to be playing it anytime soon. They're going to give this some time. And what I hope is that the athletic directors aren't going off the idea that it's just not lightning, because, right, it is not lightning, but we have these pictures to prove this is a storm that doesn't need lightning to be menacing. 7:01 in Fairmount, 7:12 in Oakwood, 7:16 in Catlin. I'm just trying to double check where this actually is. And it appears to me it is either in Homer or just past it. And I don't like the radar signature I saw go near Homer. I just hope that was something that maybe it was off by a degree or two, but we'll see here with the new update. So 6:45 is current time, or at least around there. You see the towns of arrival here. And the other tornado warning up here for northeastern parts of Vermilion County, that's till 7 o'clock tonight. And you see kind of an update on this. This will actually inch to the east at 30 miles an hour. So if I left this up, it would continue to track it to the east. We're not going to do that, but you'll see updated times there with it as it moves in that direction. So zooming out here, I also want to mention down here in parts of Clark and Cumberland County, it looks to me that Cumberland has been cleared. Clark County, you remain in the warning till 7:15. The area of concern now east of Casey, probably closer to the Martinsville area, southwest of Martinsville, probably down in here. If you're up towards Marshall, it is trying its best to stay south of you. I can't guarantee that it will, though. And as I said, we got another line out here we got to keep an eye on. I mentioned this before. I want to get on the right graphic here. There is a tornado watch, as you've probably been seeing on the bottom of your screen, that goes to 1 a.m. We will not be under it till 1 a.m. It'll be canceled before then. I can almost guarantee that. If so, not if it gets close to that, it'll be probably midnight at the latest, I would say. But so that next little round that we are seeing fire up here is just now moving through Piatt County all the way back south of Springfield. This line here is certainly one to keep an eye on. So I'm not going to, when I was saying, hey, Champaign, Urbana, you're not in this warning. You weren't in that one. Doesn't mean you won't be in one a little bit later on, because there is the chance that we end up with another warning later on tonight with that next round. So multiple tornado warnings, as I said. This one goes until 7:15. And I want to go over so I can punch up the velocity scope once again so we can track and see where this thing is exactly. So it's west, it's in the south. It's now, I would say, into Vermilion County. And I'm going to actually switch to the Indianapolis radar site, which will take a minute to update here. You'll see it run through the last hour or so of data. And it is right just south of Homer, southwest of Fairmount. So it's in this area here. That's the one warning. Now, when I switch, obviously, the Indiana radar on, kind of gives us a different perspective. Let's try a different view here. And I'm doing most of this for my own, okay, we need to look at this and that and make sure we have all of our bases covered here. See, when you do it on this one, it doesn't look like there's any rotation, which is of interest. If you're in Fairmount, you need to be in your safe place. That's the bottom line here, that this is likely producing some sort of a tornado or at least some rotation that it is something that could be of danger. So we have reports of, okay, so this is from Jeff, and we have reports of houses that have been hit in southeastern Champaign County. We don't know the extent of the damage. We don't know, he was from a distance, thankfully for him, but apparently we have some confirmation that this has apparently produced damage in some areas. I hope that's not completely true, but it does. So we have confirmation from spotters near Homer saying it is on the county line, or this was actually about 4 minutes ago. It is on the county line moving to the north and east. Fairmount, time to head to your safe place. And we keep focusing on this and the reason we're not trying to ignore the other warnings. What we're trying to do here is make sure that we're passing along information as fast as it comes out, and we're getting more information on that storm than the others. Not that our resources are there, other resources are actually there. But this one is quickly getting into Indiana. If you're in Bismarck, it's moving slow, isn't it? This one has not really done well as far as forward speed. It is pretty strong, though. I will say that. It is east of Bismarck now, according to the radar, but if I was in Bismarck, I would still say in my safe place. The other one is down near Martinsville, and that goes till 7:15. I'm going to zoom all the way out here and try that again. And go here. And go down here. All right, so this includes Clark County. Yeah, you may get some rain in Paris, but the bulk of the storm is south of you in Paris. So don't worry too much if you're in Paris. Be alert on the next round being a menace possibly, though, because there is that other round, as I was pointing out, shaping up to the north or to the west of us right now. This one, to me, just kind of, I'm going to check more than one radar source. Always a good idea to do. Does not appear to be rotating as much as the others, which is good news, but it is still something that if I were in Martinsville or areas near Martinsville, I would be headed into my safe place. Okay. Oh, okay, so Jennifer's got some information for us. Let's go to Jennifer real quick.
Yeah, Derek, take a breather. I just want to let you know I got a call from my friend Marty. He is south and east near Sydney, and he is looking at damage out there. Now the damage reports are starting to come in from Champaign County. He says he can see a motorhome that has rolled over. That's destroyed. A machine shed destroyed. And he's looking at a pickup truck that was thrown into a cornfield. So again, he is south and east. This is near Sydney, about 2300 east, 750 north. So that's the damage that he is seeing out here. And reports are still coming in. We've got somebody saying tornado just south of Farm, southwest of Homer Lake, and we've also heard some homes being damaged. So the newsroom is working on that. We are diverting our crews away from some of these football games and getting them out to the damage so we can see some pictures on that. Derek?
We did have a report of that tornado near, or that storm near Casey has been confirmed for a tornado, so near Casey as well. Well, Jeff with another picture. Jeff's also a professional photographer, I think, as well. He does a very good job with this stuff, and thanks for him being out there. I want to stress, he's a trained storm spotter. If you notice, the beginning of that says Vortex. He was on the largest storm chasing field campaign we've ever had. He's been in Kansas, you know, and stuff. He was there when the Pilger, Nebraska tornado happened. So this is a guy that knows what he's doing. We don't encourage you doing this. You need to be in your safe place. He knows what he's doing, and he has the equipment to do so. All right, so we did just confirm that there was a tornado at least near Casey. I apologize, I don't have a full update on the exact location, but basically the storm is west or east of Casey now, near Martinsville. And you know, this is one of those days where they just kind of look like blobs, but they're doing something. If you're in the southern half of this warning, meaning if you draw a line about where my hand is, okay, southward, you're okay. If you're along that line to the north, you're kind of in the path of this. This does include Marshall. The time of this goes until 7:15, so another 20 minutes, which is about right. I want to make sure I get the right time here. And there you go, Martinsville at 7 o'clock, Marshall at 7:19. So Martinsville here pretty shortly. I don't know, guys, if we've already sent the crew out, have them take a TVU with them, have them get a phoner ready so we can have a ground report of what's going on. My concern is this next line may end up doing something, and we may be on for a little bit. Want to point out how much lightning has fired up when this thing got into Vermilion County. And do we have Anise, guys? Can she tell us what's going on in Westville? Okay. So the main concern has been near Fairmount recently, moving to the north and east further into parts of Vermilion County. This is another picture from Jeff. Where's this at, Scott? So southeast 9 miles of Sydney. So that's probably looking towards where the tornado, well, it is looking towards where the tornado was occurring. And I just got a picture, I'm going to retweet it, of what this looked like east of Allerton. You know, it is something that this still looks pretty strong as of right now. One thing I need to pass along here, this has cleared Champaign County. Champaign County no longer under a tornado warning. No part of the county is under a tornado warning. So I'm going to do some searching here. I'm going to switch to the Indianapolis. Oh, I was on the Indianapolis radar. It'll take a quick second to switch over to the Springfield radar, or Lincoln radar, I should say. But you can kind of get an idea when I turn this off exactly where it is, south of Fairmount. And for some reason, there we go. There's our data. Switching data sources does take a second, but it's worth it because it gives us a new perspective on this. Now, if you're in Fairmount, I'd stay in your safe place. If you're, it kind of looks off to the west there with the latest scan and update here. Let's see here. Just kind of going through the National Weather Service reports. The last thing they had was this tornado was going to be, still a confirmed tornado. And from what I'm getting from people around and about, they are saying, you know, yes, this is in fact still on the ground. I've not had any reports of something that it shows otherwise. So if you're in Fairmount, you need to be in your safe place. Catlin, you need to be in your safe place. I say that a lot during these events. But that's the best way to communicate this, is that, you know, this is not something to be taken lightly. We have had confirmations of tornadoes that have hit homes, and we have damage today. So this is not a, hey, we're still watching this. This is a day where we've actually confirmed it. And, you know, one of the problems that happens when we get into Vermilion County is, you notice those purple pixels? Those are ones that are we can't really count those data. We have to look at the red and the greens, and we still see red and green back here. So if you're in Fairmount, it's a good idea to just make sure you're in your safe place. And also, too, I mean, I kind of see some more, I don't want to say rotation, but maybe another inlet here with this storm. But Fairmount, please be in your safe place. Areas between Fairmount and Catlin, it's time to be in your safe place and over towards Route 1. Okay, we'll go to that in a second. Between Danville and Westville along Route 1, you're on the edge of this warning. The radar just updated, so I'm going to move the scope so we can show that it's west of Fairmount. TVU shot, this is in Danville, you said, Scott, north side? I believe this is in Danville. My IFB may have went. Just north of Danville off 136, so this is probably between Danville and, you know, that the areas we were talking about that on the way to Bismarck, yeah, that were they going to the game, I'm assuming, and they saw this probably? Yeah, so one of our crews heading to the game obviously saw this, so this has produced even more damage. Let's go back to Storm Tracker radar, because this storm right here continues to impress. It has tapped into something, and they have updated this to say this is still a oh, no, I'm sorry, they've updated the other one, and I want to make sure I get to all these. Let me run this down real quick. The tornado warning that was in effect that may have caused that damage that we just showed in northern Vermilion County, no longer there. We now have confirmation of a tornado near Martinsville down here. Would be about, well, right out in Martinsville. So if you live along 40 and south of, along 70 or to the south in Clark County, you need to make sure you're in your safe place. Stay there, spend some family time together. You know, this has become a night where we've got damage. This is not, you know, anything of concern or to sniff at. It is of concern, is what I meant to say, because this is. We have 2 confirmed tornadoes on the ground now. The other one is near Fairmount, right there, west of Fairmount, actually. In fact, we just got an update on this one. It's still a confirmed tornado over Fairmount, according to the last update, is what the National Weather Service is saying. Moving east at 25 miles an hour. So if you are in Vermilion County in these areas, you need to make sure you are headed or in your safe place right now, because these are producing is producing an actual tornado at this time. Okay, so the emergency management in Vermilion County is reporting that the tornado has rain wrapped itself, meaning that there is rain all the way around it. It is that means you can't see it, but they do believe it is in Fairmount, or near Fairmount. Now, this is where, you know, we want to stress that if you try to go out, you're not going to see this. But we can see on radar, with those red and green still coming together, that there is likely a tornado there near Fairmount, moving to the north and east. Scott, can we do something? Can we try to see if there's any damage in Homer? That's something of interest to me to see if there is. In fact, I know we have damage in the country, but actually in Homer. Catlin, areas between Fairmount, Catlin, you need to be in your safe place. When they updated this warning, they did move it a little further to the west, which is interesting. But if you're in Danville to Westville along Route 1, you would be next in line. You're not officially in the warning now, but you would be next in line with this potential well, I shouldn't say potential. It is a tornado, and it's near Fairmount. Now, Oakwood, you're on the northern edge of this. You're getting a heck of a thunderstorm right now. You know, even in Danville, you need to keep an eye on this. Fithian, you're in the clear. If you consider yourself a Champaign County person, or you are in Champaign County, you are currently in the clear as well. Want to point this out, though. As I go to the home view, the overall view, notice that there is another line out here. And so we're not done completely just yet. So if you live in one of these counties that is shaded in red, there is a tornado watch for your area till 1 o'clock tonight. You've probably seen it on the bottom of your screen several times now. But if you live in these red shaded counties, it is a tornado watch till 1 a.m. So we have quite a bit of time here in which we're going to be watching this. And so I want to double check something. So we have reports now from another reliable spotter. Significant damage in or near Homer, searching for trapped residents. So that is not what we wanted to hear. I'm just going to put it out there. That is not the news we wanted to hear. And I'm getting pictures now from Bismarck and Ogden of this when it was on the ground. And it looks like, okay, so I got another update I want to pass along before we go to Jennifer. Near Casey, they're now calling that a brief tornado. So to me, that would mean that it is no longer on the ground. It is now, the rotation area would be east of Martinsville, headed towards Marshall. So Marshall, you need to make sure you are also in your safe place. Let's quickly go to Jennifer before we get more information. She's not in here right now.
No, I'm coming.
Okay, so we can go in.
Okay, so we're just getting some video in. Sitting down. Let's go ahead. Okay, this is from Shannon. I believe we're gonna be showing the video from Shannon. And she has video of what she was seeing. She sent us several different shots. Look at how big that is, Derek.
That is a large tornado. I mean, I don't put numbers on it while I see them right off the bat because we don't know what it's hit, but that is a large tornado that's healthy.
She said it was about 200 feet wide. Now, just to say, she said she was in a safe distance. She lives in Homer, 2500 and 600 in the country. They were at a safe distance when they were taking this video. This was about 6:34 to 6:50 tonight, and it looked like it was going back up. Look at that.
I did just tweet retweet another reliable spotter in the area. Picture of a home damaged in Homer, and I can say, just by looking at it and not being there, EF1 to EF2 type of damage. Kind of put it in perspective.
And she did send another picture because I asked her, did she see any damage? And she sent another one. We'll get this too. Corn down. You can see the path of the tornado as it went through the field.
Yeah, that'll make it easier to confirm where it went and keep track of it. But unfortunately for that farmer, they've probably lost that crop
damage
that they've or at least it will be very difficult. We have another picture here, it looks like.
This is a tree down. This is from Jason. And this is in Longview that we're looking at. Okay,
so real quick, I want to go ahead and review the warnings here. So this warning, this area of rotation is near Fairmount or just to the east, and it is headed towards and holding together along Route 1. So if you're in Westville, if they're in Westville, they need to make a decision on if they're going to get everyone in one big safe place for the game, or are they going to disperse. I wouldn't disperse at this point because if it continues at its current speed, let me kind of get a time on this. So the distance to it's 11 miles, and if I do the right time, the speed, that gives them about 20 minutes. More like 18 minutes. So they need to be in their safe place in Westville. Basically, around Route 1, you got till just before 7:30, as you can see here. I also want to point out that warning that we talked about earlier near Bismarck. That's triggered another warning over Newton County, Indiana. That's way north of Covington or anything like that. There's also another warning north of Lafayette, Indiana. Got some clarification on this storm, though it is in Marshall, and you need to be safe if you are in Marshall and take precaution. This apparently did produce a tornado, and apparently it is no longer a tornado. It is something that briefly touched down, but it can do it again. And if you're in Marshall, you know, basically you need to make sure you're in your safe place as of now. So, Marshall, make sure you're in your safe place. Sorry, I'm trying to read and report all at the same time, trying to get information in and out. Zoom out. Zoom back in to this tornado here, and it is in a rural area between Fairmount and Catlin. Basically, if you're in Catlin, Tilton, Belgium, that's kind of next in line with this. And I'm getting so much information. I just want to make sure I'm covering all my bases here. That rotation is east of Fairmount. I'm going to put it again in the scope, and you'll be able to see it right there. Between Fairmount and Catlin. This is pretty significant rotation still. As I mentioned before, we're getting towards the edge of the radar scan, and so that makes it a little more difficult on us, but we can do it, and especially with the spotters and what we've already seen, we kind of have a baseline on what to go off of, and it is healthy. That is still a healthy rotation. The one to the south, not nearly as healthy. I want to check the Indianapolis radar real quick, though, guys, and just double check here. And yeah, it's healthy on that radar, too. So, no matter what radar we're looking at, this appears to be healthy. I'm going to actually switch this to the Indianapolis radar, but before I do that, I'm going to zoom out here and show you an hour-long time lapse. And I'm going to go take the scope off here in a second, but get the time lapse going here. And notice that there is another line that is forming, and that line has the potential as well. I mean, the line that is currently moving through did not, have a whole lot of instability to go off of. There's plenty of spin in the atmosphere right now. We have reports now from Danville of heavy damage 1 mile north of Walmart along Route 1. We mentioned that earlier, that there may be a tornado near the Menards. I believe that's all in the same area. These are all moving to the east still. Okay, so just trying to gather a little bit more information here as we get ready. This is the next tornado, or the next line, like I said, certainly has that ability to produce another tornado. So we'll be watching that as that's now getting into Champaign and such. In Vermilion County, this is the area of concern. So we have damage in Catlin already? Or is it near Catlin? All right, let's go ahead and show the picture. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead and show it. All right. So here's Marty's picture. It looks like damage to, it's hard to tell, but I'm going to guess by what I see in there, some sort of a machine shed of some sort. Obviously significant damage there as well. Apparently that's near Catlin, which is what I was getting ready to say was my next area of concern. So if we go back to Storm Tracker radar, I'm going to do a quick little scope on this. It's right there. Oh, I want to switch this to Indianapolis real quick. And it'll come up here in a second. Sometimes it takes a second. There it goes. And so it'll take a minute to roll through the last hour of data, so we have that all ready to go. And yeah, I can see where Catlin may have got some damage with that first little round there. But the rotation is between Fairmount and Catlin. So if you're in Catlin, you're thinking, okay, we got through that. There's another one coming. So make sure you stay in your safe place. 30 miles an hour or so, and you see some towns of arrival here. Tilton, Westville, and Catlin here very, very shortly. So if you're in this area, you need to make sure you are still staying in your safe place. I want to update everyone on this tornado warning down here, which is going to expire in 2 minutes. And the last thing we had heard from that is that there was no tornado on the ground. Basically, it's something. It touched down briefly and then came back up. So if we get a new warning on that, we will pass it along. As of now, we do not have an actual confirmed warning on that. Okay. So tornado warning for Vermilion County until, let's get the warning time on there. It is till 7:15, so this one expires in 2 minutes as well, but I have got to imagine they are going to continue it, given what I'm seeing. that it, just the rotation I'm seeing, I highly doubt they can't let that one expire. If they do, we're going to stay with it, guys. So don't think all of a sudden, whenever you see that go away, that we're just going to stay on the air here, just because I really am seeing rotation that should be warned. We'll see here. They're actually communicating with the emergency management now. So it's near Catlin, and we're still rotating and still pretty strong from what I see. This warning, like I said, goes till 7:15, and it's certainly something that is to be taken seriously. Tilton, Belgium, Westville, all in the path of this when the new warning gets issued. Danville, I think the southern part of Danville may end up in the warning. It's basically going to stay, though, south of I-6. If it keeps going on its current path, it would enter Indiana about where my finger is, which is 2 miles south of 74. So it's got a little more time, and the warning just expired, but we're going to stay with this from what I'm seeing on radar. Now, granted, as I mentioned earlier, this is an area where the radar gets a little messy because it's between kind of two areas, and that latest scan bounced it a little further north, and in fact, there's the new tornado warning. So I knew they were going to do it. They wisely did it. And this one goes all the way up to include Danville. As I said, it bounced a little further north with that last update. And this goes till 7:45. And it includes Danville, it includes Tilton, it includes Belgium, it includes Westville. The area of rotation is south of Catlin. It is moving northeast at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. That's kind of generally where we have been this entire night with these, 25 to around 30 miles an hour. Not a lot of lightning strikes. You're not going to hear it coming. Can we go to the Danville Skycam, guys? I think I punched that one up last. Do we have it? Let me know if we have it or not. Okay, we're just going to stick with radio. Oh, there it is. So here's all about iSkycam. According to this, it just looks cloudy. I'm hoping that's a live picture. It may not be. It may have frozen up with either a power outage or a power surge or something along those lines. So let's go back, and it can't be a live picture with all the rain, according to radar here. So we are on the Indiana radar, so when I zoom out, you're not going to see as much. And the reason is we can get a little better resolution from Indianapolis to here than from Lincoln to here. It's not, I don't think that one's better than this one. It's the same thing. It's just the distance works out in that direction. They allowed this warning to expire in Clark County, and so that one is done. It's this area here that we are concerned about, especially Route 1 south of Danville, between Georgetown and Westville, including mostly Westville, actually, is the area of concern. Do you have something new?
Do we have those pictures, guys? Okay.
So let me know when they're ready.
Yeah.
Here's
Keep
Westville,
going.
Catlin, southwest of there. That's the area I'm watching here, is right here. Tilton, Danville, areas north of Danville. Apparently, we already have damage in northern parts of Danville. Not sure if it's from a tornado or from, wind or what it may be, but you may be thinking, okay, we've had our round. Well, there may be, more coming here. So if you're in the north half of Danville, still a pretty strong storm moving through Westville. Areas right, and I'm going to say right along the southern edge of this tornado warning. You need to be that's where you really need to be in your safe place more than anything else. They just issued another tornado warning for the one in Clark County. So let me go down there. And here we go. So it's the northeastern corner. So we started with the southwestern corner of Clark County. Now we're into the northeastern corner of Clark County. Marshall is the area of greatest concern. This goes until 8 o'clock. It's moving slow, 25 to 30 miles an hour. If you live along 70 or 40 in Clark County, or really, if you live in the red box, you need to be in your safe place more than anything else. So the further south you are in that box, it looks less menacing down there. Now we'll go over to Jennifer.
Okay, so we were telling you about the damage that with the reports that we're getting in south of Sydney. You had the motorhome that was rolled over. You have to take a look at the pictures that we now have from Marty Wilson. This is up close. We have several of these. This RV is in shreds. You almost can't tell it's an RV. You see the wheels are now turned upwards. They're supposed to be on the ground. But let me tell you the story behind this. The people who own that RV, they had just driven in from Alaska yesterday, visiting the family members in the home there in Sydney. They were supposed to be leaving tomorrow morning to drive back home to North Carolina. That is what they were supposed to be driving in tomorrow. Just came in all the way from Alaska to visit family and encountered the storm, and now that is what is left of their transportation back home. So we do have a crew out there. Hope to get more on that story. Let's scroll through because we have more of these pictures of the RV. I can't even imagine. I don't even know how many hours that would be in an RV from Alaska to Sydney. And there, is that a chicken? Standing there watching everything. It's just incredible. And I think if you look closely, you can see the cornfield behind it flattened as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's completely gone.
Yeah. We do, though, also, the house, I said they were visiting family. Don't know if it was their son or daughter. You can see the people there looking at their RV. Let's go to the picture of the house, because the house also suffered damage. If we could take a look at that. Oh, we're still waiting on the house. But what I was looking at with the house picture, they've got roof damage. And as you can see, that RV is now gone. So hopefully we'll be getting more on that story. I believe everybody is okay. They were in a safe place when it was happening, but now they are surveying the damage, and of course they are not liking what they saw.
Okay, I want to update real quick here. I'm sending a text out to, well, to be honest, my mom asked me if I was okay over here. But between Danville and Westville, or south of Westville, that area is right there. That has re-strengthened, and thanks, Jennifer, for the break again. These are moving towards Route 1. If you're in Danville or Westville, I don't want to rule any particular spot out. This looks pretty healthy right there, and it's now getting over Route 1. I don't know if we have a report from Westville of what's going on. So they put everyone inside the high school. I hope they have good. You know, I've never inspected it, but I'm assuming they have good shelter there. But this thing is we headed towards Belgium and Westville, and as I mentioned before, as we get further into this part of our viewing area, the radar isn't as crisp as it was back in Champaign County, or as it will be. And it's just where we have good coverage, and we can say there's something going on here. But when I was able to earlier say that is right there near Posodum, it was a little bit closer to the Lincoln radar. Now it's kind of in between the two. So I can't rule out Westville or Belgium in this. If you're in either, if you're in Danville, if you live along Route 1 near Danville, you need to be in your safe place. I mean, it doesn't really matter, because even up here, this is a strong thunderstorm, or severe thunderstorm. You know, the rotation might be down here, but this is still a really strong thunderstorm that can produce a lot of wind up here. So don't take one part or the other as safe. Now, I can probably say, given this, that it is somewhere near Belgium and Westville, right about here. Maybe a little bit further back to the west, but this is a healthy thunderstorm. 52 lightning strikes just in this small little area right here. So, you know, we're getting reports from our own Erica Quednow that there are crops damaged southeast of Sydney. I did get a Facebook report, if we're wondering about storm damage, that near the damage is south of Homer. It's not in Homer, it's south of Homer. You know, which it doesn't matter, it's damage. Either way you cut it. This is for parts of Clark County. I don't want to forget about this area down here. It is headed towards Terre Haute along 70 and 40, moving in that direction. This tornado warning goes, I believe, till 7:45, just like the other ones do. Some storm reports coming in now. Oh, these are actually rain reports. Savoy apparently got 2 inches in 6 hours. That's at Willard, in case you're wondering. 2 inches in 6 hours is still quite a bit of rain. Nothing like what we saw back in Springfield last month. So, you know, there was that as well. That's not an actual damage report. So overall, I'm going to zoom back out. I want to remind you that there is another line back to the west. If I can find the right button, here we go. It's now getting into Champaign. I'm hearing our satellites beep saying that there's some rain in the area. Whenever it starts beeping, it means that it's losing a little bit of signal, just like your satellite at home does. It loses a little signal whenever it starts to rain. I'm trying to get that circle off there for you guys. So I'm going to switch back to the Indianapolis radar, zoom into Vermilion County, and continue to track this cell right here that's moving along Route 1 or into now possibly Indiana. It's starting to clear Danville, but I don't want to rule Danville out just yet. Because you got all this back here. Also, flash flood warnings. We haven't even mentioned those yet. Those are dangerous too. If you live in the green boxes, I'll zoom out here. If you live in these 2 green boxes, that was the area. Remember during the news at 5, we laid down the train tracks and said, that area right there, gonna end up with some heavy rain. That area ended up with some flash flood warnings, where 2 to 3 inches of rain, I would say, fell in a very short amount of time. Rain is picking up in Champaign. I want to stress that, yes, there's a thunderstorm in Champaign. I'll double check, but as of now, I do not see anything significant. But I'm going to double check it for us all here, just to make sure that we're not missing out on something of importance. And to me, that whole next line, for now, appears to be okay. That line out there to the west. So let's see here. We'll try to switch back to the Indianapolis radar here. I'm looking here because the information coming in just a moment or two quicker on here. So that rotation is still, it's now actually right near Belgium. And as I said, I couldn't really rule out Tilton or Westville or Belgium, or really Tilton even for that matter. But this is actually a little closer to Belgium than Westville. I mean, but we're splitting hairs here. I mean, if you've traveled down this route along Route 1, it's like driving through suburbs. It's like driving through suburbs where in Chicago where you don't know which one you're in. I mean, it's a lot shorter than that, but still, you don't really know which town you are in. Which, go ahead and take that full, Scott, or Drew, Caroline, I'm not. So this is the Bismarck-Henning School. Game is in a delay. Every time you see a lightning strike, that's a 30-minute more delay. I said this earlier that if we're patient tonight and we get through these without damage, there's a big hole late this evening to get this in. So we have time. Yeah, those are some menacing, ugly, ugly clouds that I would not want to be, further south. Now, keep in mind, the reason we're able to get you this shot is because this area is not in the warning area. They're further to the north. Can we go back to Storm Tracker, guys? I keep saying this, Belgium and Westville, I can't rule one of you out. And this latest update wraps this thing up west of Westville. So I'm hoping they're keeping everyone in their safe place in Westville. Because when you start to see those what I call appendages, it's like, it almost looks like a finger coming out there. That's when you start to get concerned. Now, the rotation is a little further north than that. But if you're in Belgium or Westville, Tilton or Danville, you need to still be in your safe place. I haven't cleared places out in a while. Let me do that. Fairmount, Fithian, Oakwood, areas in western Vermilion County, you're in the clear. There's another line. We can hear it here in Champaign moving in. And there is still plenty of rotation in the air. When I talked earlier to everybody here in the studio, I said, if a storm gets going, it has plenty of rotation. And that's what we're seeing with this one. It's just fired up. And once it got going, it was able to absolutely keep going, which is really, what we expected once they got going. And I apologize for coming back and forth, but we're getting information over here, over there. Okay, we have emergency management reporting a tornado between Catlin and Tilton spotted by fire departments about 2 minutes ago. In fact, they're saying it was 5 minutes ago at 7:22. So between Catlin and Tilton. And as we said, there wasn't any part that we could really rule out. And that you're seeing, that in progress here. Tilton to Westville. As I've been saying, if you're along Route 1, south of Danville, you need to be in your safe place because there's not one little spot we can roll out. I don't want to forget about those in Clark County. We have a large viewing area. We got to make sure we cover it all. Also notice, too, we're on the Indiana radar, so this looks pretty weak. There's not a whole lot of lightning back to the west. It's just an indication that chances are things might be okay, but we still have to watch that next line. Here's Marshall. This storm is now clearing Marshall. It is along 70. So here's Route 1 as it goes into Marshall. So you got a few more exits here. They just updated it to kind of trim the northern part of the county out. Saw that happen. They probably trimmed part of the southern part of the county out as well. Fairly rural area, but if you live in this area, you know this area. You know here's 70 and here's 40. And then one takes off out of Marshall to the north. And there you see an update as well. So if you're further north and you're hearing the thunder or something in Paris, you're not going to be directly affected by that storm. We're southern Edgar County for the most part. Grab the box zoom. And boy, this shower in Champaign is heavy. And keep in mind, Champaign's under a flash flood warning already. So more rain on top of it, not going to help at all. And this is a healthy shower. So to me, to my eyes, this is starting to clear Route 1 now. It either is in the process or it is in fact doing it. And we just got an update on that one down in Clark County. That is a radar indicated tornado. They had a spotter on it, so chances are that's not currently producing a tornado. That's what I'm hoping the situation is. I'm trying to make sure we're getting everything here. Okay, so we are caught up on those updates. All right, so tornado warning continues for Vermilion County. They just issued it over into Indiana. That's going to include the Covington area, the Perrysville area, Vermilion and Fountain counties till 8:15. That's Eastern. No, that would be. It's on Central Time because 8:15 Eastern Time's already happened. 7:45 Eastern Time for those of you in Eastern Vermilion County. They still have this one moving east at 30. I'm gonna have the velocity scope here, and it's right along one. It's right along Route 1, so we're getting close here. Yeah, it's getting in now into Indiana, which is good for us, bad for them, of course. You know, this is the same area of rotation that produced a tornado in eastern parts of Champaign County and caused damage. Is it still producing a tornado? It looks like it to me. If you just go off what the radar looked like then, what the radar looks like now, chances are it is producing a tornado. I'm just double checking everything here as this kind of starts to scoot to the east. 15 more minutes to go on our warning. The latest warning, they just updated it, as you see there. It's basically right between Tilton and Belgium. So this may have just danced north, which we kind of mentioned earlier. It's really kind of, you know, as I said, when you get in these situations, the radar, you know, a few pixels is a huge difference. I mean, look at the size of that pixel. You know, it can make a huge difference on exactly where it is, and that's why we're not able to pinpoint it as well as we were back when it was in parts of Champaign County. We're hearing thunder here at the station, as I mentioned before, and I will switch sources here to show you that the line here to the west is strong but not severe. We'll do an hour-long time lapse, show you how these are getting into Indiana. And double check some of the latest reports here. So that's the last two warnings we have are these parts of Vermilion and Clark counties till 7:45. So this is getting over there pretty quickly. And I will say, it is fairly good news that these are not, we haven't heard any reports off to the west, which there's a chance that, you know, further off to the west, they have, all the spotters are further east. And I'm looking at some of the newest upper air data, and further west, it does not have the support that this area does. Doesn't mean I can rule out this line of thunderstorms doing something later, but as of now, I don't see it having the energy that this area has further off to the east that's now getting into Indiana. So 2 warnings, both till 7:45, one for northeastern Clark, the other for east central Vermilion counties until 7:45. This is pretty quickly getting into Indiana. Any new reports in there, Scott? take the silence as a no. Nothing yet. Okay. So this is heading into Indiana. Covington. I know we have some people that can get us off antennas and such in Covington. You need to be in your safe place. Vetersburg, areas along 74 and south of 74, especially Perrysville, west central Indiana, area I know pretty well. If you're in this area, you need to be watching this and try to be in your safe place. One thing I will point out, we're starting to see this notch in the back here. That probably means the wind is starting to push this thing apart. It's tapped into something that's pushing it ahead. And when you see that backward C, that usually means there's some wind trying to be pushed out ahead of it. Another picture here. This is from Jeff? Broadlands. Is this Jeff? Okay, so this is earlier from near Broadlands. This is not live. This is, and I tell you what, the picture that we went on the air with, it made me jump and say, who was that, Scott? Emily Brushman. Thank you, Emily, for sending this in. That is a large stovepipe tornado. It is something, that's something, this was a couple miles of Broadlands. That's something that is pretty strong. And one of those situations where, you see that coming, that's not an itty-bitty tornado headed in your direction. Getting so many updates so quick, sometimes it's kind of getting hard to keep up with here. But we want to make sure we get everything out. So we're getting more reports out of Urbana now, 1.65 inches of rain that is currently falling, that has fallen in Champaign. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have somebody at the house here pretty soon that has a damage, but this is getting quickly into the east central Indiana, west central Indiana. It's in east central Illinois now, and obviously the other area of concern was down here in Clark County, and that goes until 7:45. Also, that is right along 70 and 40, moving pretty quickly into Indiana towards the Terre Haute, Vigo County area. Got something new?
Okay, so earlier when I was telling you about the RV that was damaged near Sydney, and the people who had just driven in from Alaska, they were stopping here visiting their family members near Sydney, and then they were going to move on to North Carolina. Here is the house. You see the damage to the roof. The roof is just trashed on that side. And Marty, who was there taking pictures, and talking to the people who own the RV and the house, they are all okay. He did say that they were emotional, not quite yet really even trying to grasp what was happening. There was a child, and the child was crying, and so it's just a very serious. I mean, when people outside of this isn't happening near you, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why are you on the television so much talking about this? This isn't affecting me. Well, this is affecting them, and this is why we do this. That's near Sydney. A house destroyed, an RV. Can we show the RV picture again in case people weren't watching before? And that's their RV that they had just driven all the way from Alaska, and they were going to take that all the way to North Carolina. And now they definitely have to regroup, assess the situation, and see what happens after this.
Yeah, I think, as you said, the reason we do this is stuff like that. Keep in mind, guys, people's lives just turned on a dime today. I mean, they were doing something else this weekend. Now they got to figure out where they're going to sleep tonight. I mean, that's why we're on the air with these, to inform people ahead of time, and hopefully they get out of there with their lives more than anything else, because that's the most important thing. The other stuff can obviously be rebuilt, though it will be traumatic to them, of course. These storms now getting closer to I-57, and as they do, they're not really anything impressive. That's what I was just checking just a moment ago. So I want to get these warnings into Indiana before I completely say we're done. This area here, the rotation is getting pretty close to the state line, and I don't mean state line, the city. I mean the actual line. In fact, I can pretty much say it's darn close to that now. The one further to the south is not in parts of Clark County. That one is still hanging on to Illinois for all it's worth, right near I-70. In fact, it is probably just south of I-70 for what I'm seeing. Still in parts of Clark County. This update here had it a little further up, just updated here too. So it's about right here. Nope, sorry, back over here. kind of a rural area here along I-70. You know, if you know this area, if you're along Route 1 in Clark County, you're in the clear now. If you're in Marshall, you're in the clear. Here's 40. Here's 70. You know, if you live along 40 and 70, as we've basically been saying since this one fired up, those are the two areas of concern. This one up here in Vermilion County refuses to quit. It is still trying to rotate right there east of Tilton, kind of in that area between Route 1 and the state line. Again, not State Line City, which is up here, but kind of in this area in between. It is trying to continue to have a little spin to it and continue to rotate, though, as I mentioned before, exact location with these kind of situations this far away from both Indianapolis and Lincoln radars becomes a little bit hairy. Jennifer, got something new?
I do. We've been talking so much about Champaign County. We are now having damage reports coming in from Vermilion County. This is coming in from Vermilion County EMA. We've got 1 mile north of the Walmart on Route 1. They are reporting there are mobile homes turned over, trees down, and damage to houses. Again, that is the reports that we have so far coming in from Vermilion County, and we do have a crew headed there right now. Tony was shooting a football game, and not anymore. Now he's on this.
Somebody asked me online, is Danville in the clear? Yes, Danville is now, though there's, well, western half of Danville is, eastern half is. If you're west of Route 1 in Vermilion County, you're clear. If you're east of there, you are still kind of under the gun. You see the update there with the radar. And hold the phone for a second. We'll have to keep an eye on what this area does back here. I mentioned earlier, it started to kind of push out. So it looks like it may be trying to rotate closer to Covington, Indiana. The velocity is not backing that up, so this suddenly kind of discombobulated here. It's kind of has, you know, some different areas. The next concern, I guess you could say, weather-wise, is with this storm moving through Champaign County, is it going to produce more flash flooding? Also, too, keep in mind, you got people near Sydney and Homer that don't have roofs anymore, and you got rain coming in. That's not good for that. So if you're watching us on your cell phone out there, or you can get a hold of somebody who just has damage or is helping somebody, get all the electronics out that they need. Or, you know, if the house is safe, you know, just let them know. They've got a little bit of time here before some pretty heavy rain. We've been listening to it here at the station. Starts to fall in that area. Now, the area of concern obviously is right there from just southeast of Philo to near Sydney, to near Homer, to Fairmount, over to where the current rotation is, which is just north of Westville, but also up towards Belgium and Tilton. So that's quickly getting over into Indiana. I'm just double checking a few more things here. When they, like I said before, when they get over here, the information becomes a little more skewed. We've got a whole lot of video, and so if you're just tuning on, if you're somebody who's in Decatur, Sullivan, those areas, you're probably going to need to, you're probably thinking, okay, what has happened east of me? We will have a complete recap at 10. I know we have Jessica out in the field right now. We have Friday night, we have everybody around everywhere getting football games anyway, so we will have this covered from top to bottom tonight at 10. They updated this warning to cover just a small part of Clark County. It's the eastern part of Clark County, including still 70 and 40, right there along the border. Here's 1, so it's east of 1, and that's good that it's getting into Indiana, but I really hope it falls apart even further before it gets to Terre Haute. It's already starting to kind of look a little bit weaker. This is the other one. Completely disorganized at this point is what I see, but we've only got a few more minutes before the warnings expire, and so we're going to try to stick these out just a little bit longer before we get them over into Indiana. So 2 tornado warnings expiring in 2 minutes. In fact, they just expired the one in Vermilion, so this one will be allowed to expire at the top of the hour, or I'm sorry, at 45. And we are down to this one here, which will quickly get over into Indiana. Let me do one last little scan on it here. There it is. They actually have that one till 8. I was incorrect. That one goes till 8. I think they may have just updated it because of its speed. That one will get pretty quickly into Indiana. And from what I'm seeing on, so Anish just sent an update. via Twitter. She's in Westville, covering the game there tonight that hopefully we'll be able to get to at some point. They're advising everyone to stay inside. So that is probably meaning they probably still are feeling like there is some danger in the area that they don't want anyone going out into just yet. So that, you know, I haven't had any damage reports in Westville just yet. So there's the tornado warning I was just talking about that goes till 8 o'clock for Clark County, and I'm checking radar just to make sure there is actually something there for us to stay on the air with, you know, just because the warning is in effect. You know, sometimes we can look and say, okay, that rotation has fallen apart. It has not. It is right on the state line, quickly getting into Terre Haute. In fact, as it does so, we are probably going to, so it's right along I-70 and 40 moving into Indiana. So here's what we're going to do. With that now moving into Indiana and the other warning further off to the north in Vermilion County going to be expiring here in the next minute or so, we are going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming. We are going to watch this line of showers and storms here, though as I mentioned,